Welcome to the Women's Voice, a platform for learning, advocacy, and awareness on issues affecting women of Uganda and beyond.
Yes, good afternoon, dear viewer. Thank you for joining us today for another learning session. My name is Annette Nyonyetono, and I'm going to be moderating today's show. I'm excited because we are going to be speaking about a topic that is so important, especially because we are celebrating, or this month is about mental health, and I have a guest with me. I'm going to invite her to introduce herself, and then we'll dive into our conversation. Vivian, you're welcome. This is the Women's Voice. I'm glad to have you today, and I hope that it's going to be exciting for our viewers and everyone that is tuned in to learn and share information, because we believe that if you get information, you share and share for other people to also learn. Please introduce yourself, and then we'll begin our conversation.
Thank you so much, Anish. I am as excited as you are, if not more excited. My name is Vivian Olga Huda, and a very good afternoon to all the viewers, to all the listeners. I am a clinical psychologist. I work at Minders Wellness and Psychological Center in Ntinda, therefore Kampala, and I am passionate about sharing information, especially sharing information about matters that pertain to well-being, wellness, and I believe those are matters that make humanity and living worth it. So thank you so much for having me here.
Yes, so Vivian, we will begin straight away with what we prepared today for our viewers to understand what is self-care, and maybe why is it so important. For some, it's I know that it's something that they've heard of. For some, it's totally new, and for others, I think they know something different that isn't really self-care. So, what is self-care?
And thank you. Self-care is a word that became very common during COVID, during the lockdown. I kept seeing memes, and everyone was talking about it, that we thought it had become a buzzword. It was really commonly used. But how do we define self-care in the mental health area or in the psychology world? Self-care is all habits, and they could be subjective, because what works for you may not work for me. But all behaviors, spiritual, physical, psychological, that enhance your well-being, especially your psychological well-being. That is self-care. Self-care is also putting yourself first. So saying that I can't pour from an empty cup. So let me first refill before I can give. For you to be a good mother, to be a good employee, to be a good employer, to be a good wife, you have to fill your cup so that you give others. Actually, the quality of what you give is determined by the quality of what you give others is determined by the quality of what you give yourself. There's been so many myths surrounding self-care, but I don't want to preempt. I don't know if that is some an area you want us to. I'll wait for your guidance.
Yes, and yes, Vivian, speaking about that specifically, I've heard a lot about self care, and usually people say that self care is selfish, and others say that it's for the rich, and if when you're poor, you can't really afford self-care, and a lot. Self-care is it's a thing for there is a lot that they say about it. So please, yes, I want you to speak about that so that we understand what really it is not. It is not.
Yes, and my last statement, I like that you picked it up from there because there's so much going on in regard to self-care. Self-care, first of all, is not an event. Self-care is a process. Self-care is those things you incorporate in your schedule. Self-care is not one trip to Dubai in 5 years and you're like, oh, I did self-care. Self-care is not going to the spa once in 2 years or once in a year. That is part of self-care, but just that one event does not tantamount to self-care. So self-care is not selfish. There's been so many sayings about self-care. I may not remember her name, but Melissa something. She mentioned self-care is the fuel that moves you. So if you're a car, you need fuel, and that fuel is self-care. If you're a bicycle, then you need pressure in your tires, and that is self-care. I want to equate self-care to many adults. I know I am aware that some adults don't have phones, but many adults have phones. The way you worry when your battery is running down is the same way you should worry when your energy, motivation, optimism are going down, and that is self-care. So that we don't have you running around to manage the crisis. But you keep servicing. For those who have cars, you don't wait for the car to break down and then you take it to the garage. You keep servicing. Even when you're sure, okay, there is no problem. At that time when you're going to Mbarara from Jinja, you take it to the mechanic and say, hey, check and see if this car can take me to Mbarara. So the care that we give other things, if only we could give it to ourselves. So self-care is not selfish because as human beings, by default, we are social beings. What we give to others is based on what we give ourselves. How will you love me when you don't love yourself? How will you give me time if you can't give it to yourself? So even as a mother, I am a mother, I have a 3-year-old. But there are times I put time for myself and I just want to be alone. I love my daughter to bits. But it's not that she should be where I am all the time. And my focus should be her all the time. Focus should also be on you as an individual so that you can give better. So self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not for the rich because we are saying incorporate these activities. And activities like what? Incorporate them in your daily schedule. When you do that, and then once a year you can afford a trip to Zanzibar or Dubai, you're doing very well. So activities like what? How much water do you drink in a day? Because you're losing water, you're sweating, you're going for short call, your body needs that refreshment of water. Are you eating nutritious food? That is self-care. Or is it the chips and chicken and KFC all the time? Once in a while, don't spoil yourself. Go and have KFC. But are you eating nutritiously? How is your sleep? Is it quality sleep that you sleep and you feel you've rested? That is self-care. Because actually, if you get you who has rested well and you who hasn't rested well, there's a difference. The one who hasn't rested well looks not as pretty and looks older. So who wants to look older than their age? All those things are self-care. Self-care is also about the things you think. What are you thinking about yourself? How do you want other people to love you but you're not loving yourself? Do you have a relationship with yourself? Or are you waiting for other people to validate you? Self-care is also knowing when to walk away of I've had enough of this situation. Self-care is you communicating but knowing when to stop communicating and saying, okay, I've done my best, but looks like this won't work out. Self-care is being able to walk away from toxicity. So things you incorporate in your daily schedule. How are your nails? How are your clothes? Are you confident about the way you look, the way you smell? Is it something that makes you confident, makes you happy? So such an even where you live, you're proud of. Is it clean? Is it well? Because all those things contribute to your well-being.
Yes.
So I hope that clarifies a few things.
Yes, and I was going to ask like about the activities, but you've really like said something about that. But I want to believe, according to what you're saying, that self care is for everyone, and I know that these habits sometimes become hard because we don't grow seeing people do them, or we are not familiar with them. And you know, when as an adult, it becomes really hard for you to now begin on a journey. But I believe that it's never too late. As an adult, how can one begin on a journey of self-care? Because you know, something that is new, it is, as you saying, it is and is a simple activities that we do on a daily, but we don't really, you know, put in our heart there, or even think that we should consider. But how can I begin on a journey of self-care? Or even can we begin as children? Can our children also be part? Can they learn or be, you know, introduced to self-care so that it's not hard when they grow up?
Thank you, Annette, and that's an important question. Yes, and we work with groups, we work with schools, we work with some young people, and we are teaching these concepts to them so that they don't grow up to believe that, oh, you're spending a lot of time alone, being selfish. We are teaching them that self care actually makes things better for you and for the people around you. And I acknowledge that it could be hard for someone who is already an adult, who has grown up from a background where you're told, don't be selfish with your time, don't be selfish with your resources. I believe the first step is for you to educate yourself, so to be aware. Without awareness, then change is difficult without you knowing why you should change and what benefits would come with the change. So educate yourself more. We can't exhaust all there is about self-care in this 1 hour or even less. But educate yourself about self-care. We are not saying go be selfish, but we are saying before I fill his cup or her cup, how am I doing? So that's what we are saying. We are not saying no, every resource in the world should come to you. Be mean, be a bully, don't share. If you believe in generosity, it's a bad thing. No. Because there are people whose calling is in giving. But we're saying before giving, be able to give yourself. I'll give an example of us who are in the helping relationship. So we attend to people who have psychological difficulties. But even as we do that, we have people that give us that kind of support. So we have therapists. A therapist has a therapist. So you can imagine. I know theoretically I know what to do, but practically do I know how to do it? So I have someone who holds my hand and holds me accountable. So if us that do that job are able to, and we are reminded of it. So how much water do you take in a day? When did you last sleep for 8 hours? Like, oh, okay. And I can't say that I am on a perfect road or that my colleagues that I work with are perfect, but it's a matter of being intentional. So, Annette, if there's anything, then it's for one to be intentional. That intentionality is required. for you to be able to transform your life. So educate yourself, be intentional, and incorporate those activities. Come up with a list of activities. They don't have to be 20, but as concrete as they are, then start to incorporate. Okay, when do I take a walk? And we're not saying walk for 20 kilometers, 30 minutes only in a day. So 30 minutes. When? Maybe since you're a starter, you can say maybe 3 times a week. Which route do I want to be taking this one? Before you know it, it becomes such a habit that you don't want to do without it. So incorporate it in your schedule. If you don't incorporate it in your schedule, then you won't have the time to do it. You won't have special, because we all have 24 hours. You won't have an additional 30 minutes to walk in a day. And yet, exercise comes with benefits. It releases hormones called endorphins that are responsible for our happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy? So yes,
Oh,
incorporating it in your schedule. And lastly, like a commitment. You're not making this commitment to anyone but yourself. I, Vivian Olga Huda, commit to taking 3 liters of water every day. Commit to taking a 30-minute brisk walk every day. Commit to communicating my needs. That is also self-care. And then have time to review that plan. Thank you.
thank you so much, Vivian. And I'm sure our viewers are following and learning, because I know that the things I've had a lot of people say that they can't really like go for counseling. It's not something, if they are, I think that the culture and society has people to think that certain things are for certain people or for certain environments. And so I know how important it is for people to also know that taking care of yourself is something that should be put first, and it's something that is possible for everyone. And Vivian, you mentioned that you work with groups, you work with schools, and you work with organizations. And also considering that, I don't want to say that some people deserve or self-care or wellness more than others, but I know that speaking about the helping professional people that are into listening to traumatizing stories, and and working with traumatizing situations every day, need to consider. And self-care and also wellness at Minders, how do you help these I would say groups or companies to even realize, because some companies unfortunately don't even realize that people need that bit, and because I've heard a lot of people say that they can't even get leaves, like they can't be off work. And as you're speaking, I also I was thinking about that as part of self care, going off work and maybe getting time off to relax. How best do you help companies and organizations and schools to even realize that this component is needed to be incorporated in the schedules, and also being important for employees?
Thing that has come up recently and come up quite aggressively. The thing that has come out aggressive, one of the things that has come out more aggressively lately is our workplace mental health. Why? Because we spend more than 8 hours at work and more than 8 hours doing work-related things. Either you're traveling to or from work. So it's really more than 8 hours. For some who stay far, you find someone doing 12 hours of work-related things. For some, even more than 12 hours, because even when they are home, there's an email coming in, there's a phone call. And yet, organizations say work-life balance. But where is the balance? The other question is, can you even strike that balance? Can you ever strike that balance? But that's a debate that I don't want to go into. So yes, we work with organizations, we work with companies, and we say, when you take care of your staff, they take care of themselves. I mean, they take care of the customers. But we also tell the staff that before your company takes care of you, how are you taking care of yourself? Because no matter the policies at work, if for you are not concerned about yourself, then we go back to square one. Even then, self first before anything. So, what are some of the things we recommend? Number one, when a staff is going on leave, why do they go with their laptop? They are going on leave, and it's a work laptop. Number two, you have policies, you have HR policy, you have child safeguarding policies, and whatever. How are you incorporating the concept of self-care in there? And we're not saying come up with explicit phrases and say self-care, but we're saying be emphatic. Tell the staff you start at 8, you end at 5, and manage it so that the staff is accountable. How are they using those 8 hours? Someone will challenge me and say, how about people who work more than 8 hours? Yes, within the scope of your time at work, are you doing what you're supposed to do? Do you have the resources to do what you're supposed to do within that time? When we come to leave, leave is mandatory according to the Employee Act. Leave is mandatory. So self-care is also knowing about the things that concern you. Do you know that you're entitled to leave? You have a little guess. So yes, we're entitled to leave. So know that. Again, why do we wait to take leave in December? So one accumulates all the fatigue from January to November, the last day of November. And then they want to take leave. When they take leave, they travel to the village, they check on every relative. Tell me where the resting is. By the time you come back in January, you all feel exhausted because by default, December is a very busy month. So we encourage organizations to work with staff and schedule their leaves. At least every quarter, be sure to take leave. In fact, for some organizations, we even ask that part of appraisal includes how one is taking care of themselves. You're supervising John, but you're sure as a supervisor, John doesn't have to be there after 5 or at least 6 p.m. Why is John leaving work at 8 p.m. on a daily and as a supervisor you're not concerned? Is he having time for his family? Does he have challenges at home? Look into that. We also look into the leadership, the quality of the leadership. Sometimes I could be doing my best, but then my supervisor is not allowing me to thrive. So are the supervisors aware of mental health? Are they aware of there's me before the organization? If I am not okay, the organization is not okay. And really, some allowances. Now there are organizations and companies that allow their staff to work from home on certain days because perhaps they spend a lot of time and a lot of money in transport. Organizations are giving quite a lot of flexibility. And yet again, as an entire organization, how much are you embracing the concept of mental health, the concept of workplace mental health, and the concept of employee well-being? Because the question is, how do you expect me to invest 100% when I am not even at 70%? So there's that and more. But different organizations are tailoring, are coming up with strategies to ensure that staff are catered for, including such talks. We do have talks. We, we share knowledge with staff and companies to the extent that we even sit down and develop stages. Okay, what are your self-care activities? So how do you want to incorporate this Monday, Tuesday, like that? Just that and more. We can't exhaust the list.
Wow, I think it's for me it's so much informing for even to understand or to learn that it's possible for everyone for to begin at where they are, because sometimes it's it's difficult for when we think that it's costly, but when we understand that it's a normal process, like there are these normal activities, but it's just that you need to incorporate them in your schedule and make sure that, as you said, make a commitment to make sure that it happens. And know that when you're beginning on that journey, you can relapse, and it's not like it's not going to be easy, but I know that if you commit, as we have learned, it's very very possible. And Vivian, I know that you work with a lot of people and organizations, and you've met a lot of I want to say situations and challenges that individuals and employers have met around mental health. What are the risks of someone not taking care of themselves? Because I know that automatically one is that your body can become sick or you can break down, but how does it affect individuals and organizations or groups or communities?
The cost that is associated to you not taking care of yourself is not only an individual cost. It's not a cost that you alone pays. It's a cost that goes to the organization, your family, your community, your clients, and Uganda as a whole. Because if your system breaks down, then the probability of you getting a mental health condition is very high. And that means that your feelings, your thought processes, and your behavior has been tampered with. The way that system works has been tampered with. So what will it mean? It will mean that you start psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is not cheap. The session goes for as high as 350,000 and as low as 50,000. But that 50,000 can do something for you if you're looking at it from the lower end. It could mean that you start medication. Now, I am not sure if there's anyone here who enjoys taking pills. It could mean that you, depending on how severe it is, that you may not be able to continue with work because your body has broken down, your psychological system has also broken down. So the thing is, we're saying that self-care is a preventative approach to some of these things. But take care of yourself before you break down. When you break down, it comes with a huge cost to yourself, to your loved ones, to your community. Even the clients you serve will miss you. Because even if we are looking at it from the extreme end, if you don't take care of yourself, number one, you don't sleep well. Usually people who don't sleep well are irritable. Now you're irritable and you sit at the front desk. You're the face of the company. So clients come in and you're shouting at them. Will those clients come back? No. So there's a huge ripple effect that comes with you not taking care of yourself. There are people who have dependents. You have children. When you are not taking care of yourself, you end up displacing your frustration on the children. The children displace the frustration on the cat. You displace on the house help. The house help displaces that anger on the children. And the cycle continues. Before you know it, your relationships are also broken. So the effect is huge. And that's why we're saying take care of yourself so that you don't reach those levels. You also don't want to compromise on the quality of your work. You send your supervisor work and they are just mistakes all over. Then he sends you back a document that he has reviewed it, and it is in red, and then you get frustrated even more. And the more you're frustrated, the more you forget and even make more mistakes. And the cycle continues. So yes, the ripple effect is huge.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for sharing with us today. And I know that, as you mentioned, we cannot really exhaust everything, but the important thing that we begin on a journey of learning, and we'll have more people and more experts, and even you speak about this issue or even other issues that are connected to mental health here at the Women's Voice. And as we are uh, planning to conclude our show, Vivian, do you have any other suggestions or recommendations or message you would want our viewers to get?
Yes, maybe I can share some recommendations um, that are pertinent to self-care activities. Really, things that are preventative in nature. If you have a tooth that needs to be reviewed by a dentist, make time and go do that because before you know it, it will be paining. Before you know it, it will need a root canal. Before you know it, you have to pay millions of money, and that is self-care. So that regular visit to a physician, to a dentist, self-care. Socialization, we are social beings, so ensure to connect as much as possible. I've had people say, but me, I don't trust people. Yes, you may not trust people because of something that happened in the past, but that one person who hurt you doesn't represent others because of their gender. So either you need support in that area, or you need to reach out to others and see if they also betray you. So also reach out, make those connections with people, even if it can't be physical in nature. You can make a phone call, you can chat online, then communicate your needs. People are not mind readers. How will I know that you're not happy with me? Yet you just keep on quiet. People are not mind readers, so express yourself. Also, get out of the house. There's something about being outside. Get out of the house, take a walk, appreciate God's creation, see new faces, look at your neighbors, say hello, get dirty, and also move that body. Every day, try and get, even if you say, I come home late, in your house or in your bedroom, in your bathroom, move your body, put your arms up, try to kick the air, but move that body. Self-care is also about the things you think. You may think people are hating on you, and yet everyone is busy. People are busy looking for money, people are busy taking care of themselves. And so you think, oh, people are so busy, they don't even care about me. So if you are a garden, self-care means you are the gardener. So you're responsible for the quality of the crop that comes out of your garden. So you're responsible for the quality of your life. No one is going to do it for you. It is your responsibility. And that's my take home message, Annette. Thank you so much for having me here.
We are so honored, Vivian, for accepting to be part of this show today, and we hope that when we call you again, you'll be willing to share more, because there is a lot that we need to learn. Because it's, for me, it's every day is a new opportunity to learn and also to share. For everyone that has been part of this show, thank you so much for keeping it here, and we encourage you to share this show. Show streams live on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram. Please share. It is there for someone that has missed to watch. You can share and this information or this show, so that they can also get to know and also learn and benefit from this amazing show. And please, if you need us to share any information or to discuss any topic here, you can leave it in our comments, and we'll definitely see how best we can reach out to experts to come here and then enlighten us. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye bye.